Hello and welcome back to another Harsh Noise Gear review. I am here with my mixer, the Yamaha MG10XU, a 10 input analog mixer with a digital effects processing unit, and a USB out. It's got a whole lot of stuff. So what I'm going to do, I use this for everything. I'm plugged in through it right now. I'm going to be conducting this review through this mixer. Now, I'm going to talk about the features of the mixer. I'm going to run a bunch of noise instrument inputs into this so you can see what it sounds like for noise. I'm going to be messing with a lot of the knobs, a lot of the effects built in. I'm also going to be demonstrating no input mixing, which is a noise technique where you feed your outputs into your inputs and use no input to create a feedback loop. And then you can manipulate that using the onboard effects, the knobs, and the effects pedals. We'll get into that. First, I'd like to go down some of the features of this thing. So this is a 10 input mixer. And a mixer is pretty simple. What it does is it takes a bunch of signals and mixes it down to like one signal or two signals. I have it going in my left. So right now what I have is I have my microphone, which is off screen, plugged in to input 1. I have running from my outputs left and right into my audio interface, which then runs through USB into my computer. I then have my headphones that I am wearing plugged into the headphone jack. I'm turned up a little bit here, max all the way here. Let's go down to each channel, because each channel has pretty much the same features repeated over and over. But first two channels you have the compressor, and then you don't get the mids or the peak light. On some of it doesn't have every feature for every channel, as you'll notice. First 4 channels are like the most geared out, and then channels 5 through 10 share multiple slots. So 5, 6 is left and right, 7, 8 left and right, 9 and 10 left and right, again for those channels. And those 6 channels share 3 slots, 6 inputs, 3 channels, kind of. Okay, let's go down what we got here. So we've got a pad, a high pass filter, a gain. My gain is currently at maximum. If I turn that down, you won't be able to hear me. That's just how this microphone and this mixer kind of work together. Compressor is going to compress my voice and is going to remove a lot of stuff from it. And but you'll be able to hear that a little better in with other effects. And then we have the EQ knobs. We got high, mid, and low. Right now I have my mid at about 75%. I can turn that down right here. I'm going to turn my highs all the way up. It gets real crispy, real ASMR. Kind of gross. The mids are pretty good. And the lows, backing up the lows with that bassy stuff. Crank them all up. Gets a little distorted. Almost. We'll get into that. Because you definitely can distort a lot of stuff on this. Then we have the effects knob, these white knobs here. The effects knob connects to the digital effects unit processor, which has 24 onboard digital effects with one parameter knob and then like a selector knob, and you can choose the output of the effects level, which I'm going to also show a really neat trick with that I just learned today. Okay, then we have the pan knob, which pans it left or right. And hopefully you should be able to hear that because I'm using the 2-channel out and it is recording in stereo. Yeah, I had to double check. But yeah, so that's kind of how each channel works. As you see, we get less features the further right we go. And then you've got a bunch of other features that I don't use, such as like one of the really cool features of this is the USB, which allows you to use this as an interface. I don't, because I already have an interface that I use and have set up and I use for other stuff. but you can use this as an audio interface into your laptop. It'll give you 2 channels out. It'll give you a left and right out via, so you can do left and right out via, it's got a lot of outputs here. You've got MIDI, you've got XLR, excuse me. You got XLR outs, you got 1/4 inch outs, you've got 2 monitor outs, you've got an effects send out, and you got a headphone out. And then you have the USB out. The USB can also do in where it gives you 2 channels, and I've never used it before. I am sure it is a great function. There are lots of other videos about this mixer and how to use it in general. It's a quality mixer, and it's got some great sounds, and it's got some great sounds for noise. And you can do a lot of these techniques that I'm going to show you with different mixers. But first, let's plug in some stuff and see what it sounds like. See what kind of mix levels I can get out of it. So I'm going to plug in some Cybergrunge synthesizers, and we're going to see what this sounds like. Have to give that one a little bit of gain because it's a power starved synthesizer. Okay, so I plugged in a whole bunch of stuff. Let's throw on some effects on it. All right, so right now I have a reverb selected. You can see number 4. Let's see what the reverb sounds like. got some reverb. There we go. Now it's on. Let's try some delay. Yeah, so you can plug a whole bunch of stuff into it. It's a mixer. It does that really well. I've still got the flanger on. Flanger. Yeah, some good effects on here. No, this is the phaser. Excuse me, phaser. The 16 is the flanger. We got a delay. A whole bunch of different reverbs. We got a whole bunch of different reverbs. Bzz, 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 bzz. Yeah, there's a whole lot of onboard effects that are really cool, like vocal echo. There's also a few built-in things that are good for noise, such as the distortion. It's actually, it's okay. It's kind of cool, but doesn't really do what I want it to do. Doesn't really do what I want it to do. It's nice though. And then pitch shift. Nope.
Pitch shift, which is also great for noise, and it's just really funny.
So you have one parameter knob. So like, for example, on the delay, it's only repeat, delay, and not. It's like a few parameters in one. Delay and feedback get longer. The more you increase. So each knob only has one parameter, but that's fine. That's fine. Totally fine. Let's bring it back to the delay, because that one's fun. I'm going to clear up this mess I made, and we are going to see what... We've seen what lots of inputs is like. Let's see what no inputs is like. Okay, so we're back to no inputs, right? We're just at... Just my voice as the input. But what we're going to do is we are going to take the monitor out, right? And we are going to plug it in to channel 2. So this creates a feedback loop. Now, I'm going to turn myself and then mess around with channel 2 so you can hear what a feedback loop sounds like. Then I'm going to interact with it with my voice. So you turn up the gain. Turn up the gain, and then it starts working. And you can do cool stuff with feedback loops. You really can. You can do lots of cool stuff with feedback loops. just the feedback loop. Yeah, loads of fun. I was just messing with that and a little bit with the delay knob a bit, but I was just messing with the gain and the volume and the compressor and the EQ. It's so much fun. There's so much you can do with no input mixing. So what I'd like to show now is let's do multiple no input things. Well, actually, before I get into a no input performance, I want to talk about something that I just learned about today, which is you can get a cool effect out of the FX send if you take the FX send out and put it into channel in. This is apparently something that dub reggae musicians would do with their effects send, is send it back into a feedback loop and use it on the drums and all their stuff to mix their stuff and give it like a crazy distorted sound on top of everything else. So we're going to try and recreate that right now. I think we saw a little bit of it earlier when my voice was peaking in multiple channels. But we have the effect send out right now, which means I need to turn this one up a bit, this one down a bit, this one to there. Yeah, like that. Yeah, but a little bit of the effect. So right now I'm running the effect send out, right? And running it into channel 2. I need some signal on channel 1, but like I don't have to have a lot of signal on channel 1 because it's getting boosted. It's getting boosted by both gain in channel 1 and gain in channel 2. Gain in channel 2. Look at that. It's like a distortion pedal. It's like a distortion pedal. And I'm not running any effects. I'll turn on delay so you can hear what that sounds like. Sounds like this. Sounds like this. But if I turn that up, doesn't have as much effect. Turn this down, kind of works. Yeah, I think it sounds really cool. Really cool. Yeah. But there's like a, yeah, so this is kind of what, like, there's a bit of a sweet spot. There's a bit of a sweet spot in this. A bit of a sweet spot in which it just adds like a nice distortion without too much peaking. See here, I'm not really peaking in any of the channels, but I'm adding the effects send back into the channel here. It's doing some funky stuff with the analog signal. It's bringing it around and it's looping it in, and then it's returning it into here, and then it's bringing it back into here. It's creating a nice loop, and it's doing some cool stuff. And my friend that told me about this technique suggested that I plug in my drum machine. I'm not going to do that right now because I didn't feel like doing that for this video. But imagine, you know, a nice dub beat with like this low-key distortion on it. I think that's cool. I think this is what my friend was trying to tell me about. We'll see. Hopefully they comment on the video and tell me I'm wrong and you're supposed to do it this way, and that's not how the masters did it. I don't know, but we're having fun regardless. So let's turn off all the effects again, and let's do some more. Actually, let's do some more no input stuff. Cause check this out. Check this out. Okay, so we're kind of in our sweet spot. We're kind of in our sweet spot right here. Kind of in our sweet spot right here. But let's add in another feedback loop from the monitors. And let's see what that sounds like. Let's give it a little bit of gain. There we go. It just needed a tiny bit of gain. And now we're at like extra distortion because my voice is going in through channel 1, out into the effects send, out as well into channel 3. So channel 3 is distorting like a motherfucker. Pardon my language, but channel 3 is distorting a lot. I think that sounds super cool. You can do all sorts of different stuff with this. Listen to this. This is absolute nonsense. Let's turn up this thing. Let's turn up some delay. Let's give it some reverb. Make it huge reverb. Huge reverb. Yeah, alright. So that's a little bit of what no input can do. That's a little bit of what no input can do. That's what no input can do to a motherfucker. Alright, but I'd like to show you a pure no input chain and show you and do a little no input performance for you. The way I'm going to do that. Oh, something else that's cool that you can do is you can half plug these in. So instead of plugging it all the way in, you leave it like halfway in, and it creates a different sound. Let's check that out. Checking it out. Testing 1 2. 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 Test. See what I'm saying? Yeah, so just a little bit of that, but let's build a no input wall here. Okay, so we have our output going into our EQ, into our distortion, into our delay, into our another distortion. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a performance here with no input. I'm going to turn myself down entirely, and we are going to just mess around with no input. Oh, that's cool. We immediately got some radio. Thank you, everyone. Let's see how my voice affects it. Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. All right. I think that was a pretty good overview of this mixer and what it can do. There's a bunch of stuff that it can also do that I didn't demonstrate, but that's okay. I hope you enjoyed the video. Comment if you think any of the techniques I used are interesting. Comment if you have this mixer, or if you have used a similar mixer, or if you have done similar techniques on your mixer. I'm interested to hear what y'all have to say. Don't forget to like and also subscribe. Thank you so much.